Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom. But before I begin, please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments down below. And also, if you're interested, we have a membership and that link is also in the description box. All right, everyone, so let's get started. So today we're going to talk about season 1, episode 3 of Love Without Borders. The episode is called You Don't Have to Do That. So on this season, we're introduced to 5 couples who meet up with a relationship expert to help them with matches because they're not having the best time dating and things like that in their own city. So her name is Erica, sets them up with matches abroad, and they don't know who they're meeting or where they're going until they get the call or the meetup from Erica. They meet her at the airport, and that's when they find out their location of where they're going. So let's check back in with Aaron. Now, Aaron has made his way over to Paris where he has met with Maëlle. Now, after they've settled in and looked around the apartment, Aaron is trying to, fill out the space a little bit, fill out Maëlle, but at the same time, see, now this is where we could have been left without this particular part of the episode because I call this shady production. Aaron, after traveling all this way, and hey, maybe he's nervous, his nerves are bad, and he's got to use the bathroom. So the apartment is really tiny, and he's saying how he's a little uncomfortable using the bathroom, for the first time around someone. But again, since the apartment's so tiny, the bathroom is just right there. So he excuses himself. And why does shady production put the time up the whole time he's in that bathroom? You see a time lapse of 3 minutes, and then you go to 6 minutes. I'm like, can he go to the bathroom in peace? And then they also capture Maëlle just waiting outside the bathroom, just kind of like. So when Aaron finally does come out, awkward conversation continues, but then again, hey, they just met each other. And so they talk about what they want to eat for dinner, and Maëlle is saying, so what about a quiche? And Aaron's looking like, a quiche, like what's that? He's trying to describe what a quiche would be in his mind. And Maëlle's like, no, that's not it, And then they talk about what's in the refrigerator, like pickles and things like that. And then Aaron goes on to say that he eats out a lot. He's into fast food and just going to different restaurants, and that's not Maëlle's style. But see, Aaron last week, just by impression of him to me, he comes across a little high maintenance a little bit. So I could see him like going out to eat or like to be wined and dined, things like that. Aaron to me is definitely out of his comfort zone. But it looks like they came together and they ended up making like a salad or something for dinner and just continued on with their conversation. So then we see Aaron and Maëlle go to the bedroom where we already saw how the room was small and the bed was smaller. And so Aaron gets on the bed and it looks like it's really like a twin size bed or a twin size XL for like college students or something. And so when Aaron gets on it, yeah, his frame is just a little long for the bed, but what can you do? You got to make it work. So then the next morning when we see them again, Aaron is unpacking. I don't think Aaron honestly has the communication skills the way Maëlle does. Aaron comes across, even though high maintenance, he still comes across a little bit quiet and reserved. Conversation gets into, do you wear boxers or briefs? And just different things that they wear. And then Maëlle was saying in confession that he doesn't like a man that wears flashy underwear. And so I guess what Aaron was putting up into where he's putting his clothes, maybe his underwear were maybe things that Maëlle didn't like, because Maëlle was saying, well, maybe you could wear something like that, as swimwear, like at the pool or something. So then they decide to go out to look at the surroundings, the neighborhood. So Maëlle takes Aaron to see the Eiffel Tower to get, pictures, things like that. But in confessional, Aaron says something like, yeah, in North Dakota, we're known for the largest buffalo or something like buffalo stature. I mean, unless you're from North Dakota or the surrounding areas, or maybe that's your thing about knowing where statues and things were, who would know that information? So also while they're out taking pictures and everything like that, they move along to a fence. And this fence has a bunch of locks on it. You know, with the lock and the key. Well, it represents the love for each other and the symbolism of, you know, we'll be together forever. Just that type of sentiment. So Mael suggests to Aaron, hey, do you think you want to do this? You know, to show that we're in this, like we're in this together to try to make a relationship. And at first, Aaron's like, kind of like looking, but he decides to do it. But in confessional, Aaron says he really didn't want to do the lock thing because he thought it was like making things move a little bit too fast, but he didn't want to hurt Mael's feelings. So Aaron, I don't know, he may not be feeling Mael the way Mael might be feeling Aaron. So next up is Brian and Dana. So Brian apparently has gone out to the farm, fed the chickens, come back, because when he comes back home, the time said it was like 10:15, 10:20 in the morning. And so when he gets back home, Dana is in the bed, and here we go again with that shady production. Why can you hear her snoring and everything? But she's traveled a long way. She's in Ireland. So how come she can't be asleep? I mean, the time difference, I'm sure that jet lag and everything else caught up to her. Brian's downstairs making breakfast, and he actually eats by himself, and he's talking about, well, I guess you missed it. So I mean, if you made breakfast, I mean, hopefully you left her some so she can have when she gets up. But then after he eats, Brian goes upstairs. He actually wakes up Dana. He has her coffee and has a rose for her. And they're making little innuendos. So apparently when we left off with them last week, in his red underwear, maybe things got a little bit intimate because they were talking between the lines kind of thing. So I think it was Dana who said, you know, we did more than just kissing. So, well, later in the afternoon, after Dana gets up and they get themselves back together, Brian takes Dana to the farm, you know, to see where it is and just to see what goes on out there. And, you know, I think right now they have the best connection. They seem to have gotten along really well, and their conversation has really picked up. So at the farm, of course, it's a huge place. You know, farming usually is. And Dana's like, oh, wow, it's really nice out here. And she also says that, you know what, I could see myself being here. I could see myself just being on this land and being creative. And so then she asks Brian, has he ever thought about doing any type of beehives? He says, yes, actually, that is next up what I'm going to do. And so she goes, you know what? I can manage it. So again, their connection and the things they talk about and wanting to see things like more in the future of where it can go, so far it looks like they're on the right path. Then we have Carmen and Phil. When we see them again, they're having dinner. Carmen brings out a variety of dishes for Phil to try for dinner. And so when they sit down to eat, she tells Phil, here in Ghana, we eat with our hands. So take a piece of bread, dip it in the food, and that's how you eat. And so I guess Phil was trying to reach for his left hand, and she said, no, we only use right hand, that's tradition. And Phil says, why? She says, because we use our left hand, you know, to wipe ourselves after the bathroom. And Phil says, oh, so what, you guys don't wash your hands? And I'm thinking, why would you say that, Phil? If that's tradition, eat with your right hand. So anyways, that's definitely a cultural difference. Then the conversation goes to how long have you been single, what it is that you do. Phil tells Carmen that he's been single for 7 months, celibate for 4. And Carmen's like, I don't know if I can be celibate because I like the lifestyle, you know, I like being social and things like that. But you know what? If you put your mind to it and you really want to get back focused with yourself and just, you know, whatever you have to do, I think most people could be celibate for a while if that's what they chose to do. So then Carmen goes on to explain, you know, she likes to go out, she likes to be social, she likes to drink and all this other stuff. But Phil was also saying the reasons why he was celibate and came, you know, focus back on himself. He also mentioned that, you know, he cut out the drinking, he cut out the partying, cut out everything else just to refocus and redirect to get him in the mindset of, you know, finding a wife, a companion, and, you know, moving on with his life that way. So I think with Carmen mentioning that, you can see a look on Phil's face like, okay, like that's what she's into. Hopefully as time goes on, they get to know each other, they can compromise with that. Cause I mean, it is a lot to take in. You're meeting someone with a matchmaker, stuff like that. So to have a different lifestyle than what your partner is takes compromise. When we see them again, it's the next day and they're at the pool. Phil is very attracted to Carmen. He calls her like, oh, she's thick and this and that. And then Carmen, in her confessional, goes, oh, I hope he likes this. And while she's showing off her swimsuit. So while they're in the pool, I mean, they're having their conversation. Phil, like I said, is very attracted to her. I think he's being thrown off by the way she looks in her outfit and just the conversation in general, because his awkward laugh and saying like he don't know how long he could be celibate around her. Hey, sometimes things happen, but if you're gonna be in a relationship and eventually come together on the intimacy front, we'll see how long the celibacy will hold up. So next up is Gurleen and Shara. I hope I'm saying that right. But anyways, it's the next morning, and Shara and Gurleen, they both say they had a good time opening up last night, even though it took a lot of tequila shots. Things opened up and they got on the same page about Sharaf and Gurleen moving into their own space. Because if you remember from last week, or if you didn't see it, Gurleen says she's a fierce independent and she's not used to being around anyone or in their space. She's used to living by herself and doing things on her own. But his lifestyle is one of a nuclear family where the mom, the dad, the sister, and everyone lives in the same household. But I guess he decided that he will get a place with Gurleen to, you know, move the relationship forward. So while they're getting ready to go out for the day, Sharif goes into the living room and his dad is there. He's asking Sharif how things went with Gurleen the prior night. And he's saying, oh, things went fine. And then Sharif broke the news to his dad that he was going to be moving out. And that, oh, the look on the dad's face was like, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? Does she not like it here? Or does she not like us? And he's trying to explain that, you know, she's not used to being around family. And I don't know, in my thoughts, maybe he could have said something a little bit different, but then again, it was the truth. I mean, yeah, she may not be used to family. Maybe he could have said something like, you know, she just wants to be like her and I to see in a separate environment. Because they explained last week that they were a cohesive unit and this is just what they do. Sharif's mom also comes in the living room and he's telling her the same thing. And the mom is thinking maybe it's something that they did or maybe something they said, but no, that's not the case. So now Gurleen is dressed and they're on their way to Sharif's cousin's house. So as they make it to the cousin's house, there's a small party there to welcome Sharif and Gurleen. And it's a nice house. I mean, they have the usual appetizers, food going. They're taking shots, things like that. So Gurleen is actually sitting down talking to one of the guys. And he's asking her, so what made you come to Dubai? Gurleen said she's looking for love. She hasn't had, you know, much luck on her own. So she decided to pick up with this relationship expert. And here she is. Then she goes on to say, but, you know, when she got to be with her match, she didn't expect to be with his family. And then she says, yeah, and we're also looking to move into our own place. When she's telling the friend all this information, I'm thinking to myself, listen, you really don't know these people at the party like that. So yes, you can explain, you know, maybe why you're in Dubai, but to give the ins and outs of like, oh, I didn't expect to be move in with these people, like these people are his family. Because wouldn't you think that the friends, because the party's at the cousin's house, wouldn't you think that they may know the family or family members? And so maybe that conversation, especially the way that it came out, because when she talks, in my opinion, she talks with a lot of like sarcasm or like, why don't you understand? And then when we see Sharif talking to the cousin, he's saying that, yeah, we're going to get our own place together and things like that. And the cousin was like, oh, so you're going to give up your family? And Sharif's like, no, I'm not giving up the family. I would never do that. And so the cousin starts laughing a little bit like, oh, yes, you are. You're going to be doing stuff on your own. And he's like, no, I would never give up my family. And so when he's saying that to the cousin, I'm thinking, so why would you move out with Gurleen? Even though I understand the dynamic as to why you move out to get your own space, to do more things one-on-one without maybe family like looking over your shoulder or maybe being in the space. But you know, maybe you should have said that to Gurleen. Now, at the end of the party, it's time to go inside. Gurleen gets up and takes her dish. And he's like, no, no. And everybody's like, whoa, put that down, put that down. She's like, no, I'm going to take this inside. It's mine. I want to feel like I'm doing something. And they're like, no, you don't have to do that. Then she goes back outside and gets another tray and brings it back in the house. And all you just keep hearing is, no, you don't have to do that. And so then the friends and the cousin turns to Sharif and saying, like, why is she doing that? We have help for that. Like, don't she understand? We have help for that. I mean, it makes it look like, we don't have anyone assisting us. But see, I understood Gerlene's point. She isn't used to, people picking up after her, and she wants to feel like, I'm doing my part, I'm bringing my dishes in, versus, the people at the party are used to maybe having hired help and hired people to cater the party to bring the stuff in. The way that Sharif's friend or cousin, whoever he was, chastising Sharif about Gerlene picking up her dishes in the way that makes him look. Ooh, the car ride home, that conversation. Oh yeah, next week, I'll be waiting for that. Next up, we have Naeem. Naeem is the 5th single that's on the show that has been matched with Matchmaker Erica. Naeem is 39. He says he's a master social worker from outside of Houston. He says his personality led him into his profession as he's a big kid and he likes to let loose. Naeem also goes on to say that he's held back from the dating scene as well, and he wants to have a better relationship, a more wholesome relationship, because when he was younger, he said he was emotionally immature and wasn't ready for the right woman. But when he got COVID, he said he heard a message from God and that God told him to find a wife. And that's the reason why he found Erica to match him with his match. And so one of Naeem's concerns, not just with not finding love in Houston, is telling his mom that he's been going to a matchmaker to find him love, because he says his mom is his support and that means everything to him. And so he's afraid that she won't find what he was doing, smart or pleasing. So when he goes home and he talks to his mom, oh no, his mom is not here for this. She's telling him this is all disappointing because it's life altering and it's something that he needs to pray about. But Naeem says that, he's prayed, he's been spiritual about it, and he feels this is the right decision. But his mom was like, no, this is disappointing. And but whatever you decide to do, if you decide to go, you go. So then when we see Naeem meet with the matchmaker, she's telling him it's time to go, pack your bags and everything like that. And then when Erica, the matchmaker, comes to talk with Naeem's mom about it, I guess maybe as a buffer or filter, it's still a no-go. The mom is like, no, Naeem is disappointed because he really feels like his mom's support will be beneficial for him, and he doesn't want to feel like he's disappointing the family or disappointing his mom in any way. But at the same time, he's ready to go and find the love of his life and go to the next chapter. I'm sure the mom wished him the best, but Naeem is determined to do what Naeem wants to do. So when he gets to the airport, he finds out where he's going. Boom, he's going to Panama, and he's excited because he says, oh, I like the nightlife, I like the dancing, I like the food. And that's something that Erica, the expert, said in confessional, the reason why she picked it was because he said he wanted dancing, nightlife, food, and since he studied Spanish in school, he could practice his Spanish. So I guess we'll see who his match is next week. All right, everyone, so that was the end of the episode. So next week, it looks like we're going to see Gerlene and Sharif move into their own place. We're going to see Aaron and Mael have looks like a romantic dinner possibly. We're going to have Dana and Brian out at the farm doing what they do, getting more connected. And Phil and Carmen having, it looks like, their first disagreement. And again, Naeem landing in Panama. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments, and tell a friend to come over to our YouTube family. All right, everyone. Thank you again for watching. And until next time, live simply, be grateful.